All over the world on any given day, there are women and couples who find themselves in a pregnancy-related crisis. I spend most of my time today equipping pastors and communities of churches to know how to respond to a pregnancy-related crisis, how to intervene and help them. The fact of the matter is we need a lot of people that can do that. They're not experts. If you want to be an expert, you can go to college. You can get a degree, a master's degree in what is called critical incident stress management or crisis intervention management and strategies. There are a whole number of textbooks that are out there. This one's called Crisis Assessment and Intervention and Prevention. It's a standard one used in a university. Here's another one called Crisis Intervention Strategies, now in its 8th edition. I believe it's actually got a 9th edition out since I purchased this one. It just goes to show you that you can become an expert. Here's a textbook from a Christian worldview perspective called Crisis and Trauma Counseling by Dr. H. Norman Wright. What to do and say when it matters most. But here's the reality. We don't really need more experts. We need more good neighbors, people who simply know how to respond to a crisis using the law of love. I love the words of the Christian philosopher G.K. Chesterton, and they're worth remembering when you're facing a crisis intervention situation. He said, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. I love that proverb because it's a great liberating reminder that if something really serious needs to be done, then you do the best you can, even if you're not the best person for the job. Clearly, you can say the wrong things, but often experts do the wrong things. If there's anything that the last several years have taught us is that experts are often wrong. But even if they're right, there's just not enough of them to meet the needs of a broken and fallen world. I wrote a book called Pregnancy Crisis Intervention, a textbook, let's say, to help people know what to do and say in a pregnancy-related crisis. But I don't want people to rely on being an expert. I couldn't get this book into enough people's hands. Not enough people would read it, given the numbers of crises that people are in on a daily basis. So while I believe in doing well and becoming good at what you do, even writing a textbook about it, my first point in this book and in life is to tell people you don't need to be an expert. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, and that's especially true in a pregnancy-related crisis. You meet somebody, they're in trouble, they don't know what to do, they're thinking about having an abortion, and you're the one that they have told that to. You may not be the expert, you may not have confidence, but you're the one in God's providence that the news has been broken to. So you have one of two choices. You can say, I'm not an expert, I don't know what to say, I'm not well trained, I don't want to blow it, I might say the wrong thing, and all of that will drive you to back away and do nothing, or to send them somewhere else where the expert is. Maybe they'll be helpful, maybe they won't, maybe there's time, maybe there's not time. The other option is to remember anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And in our context of people in crisis, I think that's the word that we need to remember. I rely, and I teach this to people all over the world, to rely on the law of love, the Good Samaritan story. When he was confronted with the man who was about to die, he didn't say, I better find an expert. He didn't say, I need to read a book. He didn't take a class in crisis intervention or critical incident stress management. He just started to act practically, personally, sacrificially, directly to stop the man from dying. He did for the man who was dying what he would want someone to do for him if he was dying. This is the golden rule because it always works. We are all equipped to respond to crisis. We may not do it as good as other people who are highly trained, but anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. So when you're confronted with a crisis, remember what Chesterton has said. Get in there and say to that woman or couple in crisis pregnancy, I'm sorry you're in this difficult situation. I know this is a terrible time. Explain to me why being pregnant right now is so terribly difficult so that you understand her situation. And then just remember to say, let me help you. And God will begin to direct you in the weeks and the months afterwards on how to help her. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. And saving an innocent life from slaughter, and saving a woman and a couple from a deadly decision that they feel pressured into and will regret the rest of their life is definitely worth speaking up, even if you're unsure, even if you're uncertain, even if you don't have the magic words and you're not smooth and as an expert. Just say, let me help you, and God will begin to take over from there. Then we can have a whole army of people who can do things that are worth doing, even if we just do them adequately. God will honor it. I believe it. I'm going to teach it all over the world. I encourage you to do the same. God bless.